Welcome to GC Cars. My name is Eric, and today we got the 2021 Ford Bronco Wildtrack Sasquatch 4-door, and yeah, we're gonna take a little look at that. In 2020, I reviewed a Wrangler 2-door JL, so let's compare them and see which one's better. Of course, as always, we're gonna take a look at the exterior first. We're gonna take a look at the interior here, and then we're gonna drive and sum it all up. And as always, if you want to see more videos, you can subscribe for free, get like weekly videos, and the more subscribers I get, the cooler the cars. Win-win. All right, let's get going with the exterior, but I gotta mount this roof first. I'll be. It's like a tank. I'll be right back, guys. Okay, let's start talking about the exterior of the Bronco. First of all, we have frameless doors. That is very good and very important because just like in the Wrangler, you can take off the roof, as I have shown, and the doors, you can take them off and drive with them. And the good thing about frameless doors is they're much easier to carry. The Wrangler doors, they have like a full frame door, and it's super awkward, super awkward to try to carry them. These ones here, much easier to carry. You can grab them down here, grab them up here, and you have them. Perfect. Of course, with the weather, I didn't do that this time around. I do have a POV test drive though, where we have the front roof panels off. Everything from the second and the third panel, you can take all of this whole roof off, right? Is a little difficult as it's like just one person. Anyhow, another nice thing, speaking of doors, nice and loud, these mirrors are actually not mounted on the doors. So unlike in the Wrangler, if you take the doors off, you still have side mirrors. Good job, very thoughtful. But let's talk about the exterior design and how I like it. And I absolutely love how this looks. And this is Area 51. And yeah, the color is called Area 51, that's it. Pretty cool color name, I gotta be honest. And the Bronco just looks amazing. It looks awesome. I've seen a post on Instagram, which is like a first gen Bronco compared to this gen here. And they look so insanely similar. They really nailed the design. It just looks awesome. The daytime running lights, the amber turning lights, and I've got the Bronco. It's just, of course, this one is pretty much fully spec. You have the optional front bumper here. You have everything as the skid plates down below, which protect your body. And like I said, Wildtrack Sasquatch, so that means one of two terms technically. Sasquatch package gives you the 35-inch tires, gives you like a bit of a lift, and gives you a few other neat features. But the Wildtrack is meant to kind of look like Baja, running a bit more fast off-roading, while the Badlands is more made to do like slower off-roading, like rock crawling or mud and snow off-roading. This thing also dwarfs a Jeep Wrangler, mostly because of the front, because the Wrangler's front kind of narrows and slopes a little down, while this one here is just like one big block. I love how this looks. It looks much more intimidating, has much more road presence than a Wrangler. And even the rear, I think this Bronco looks fantastic. They absolutely nailed the design. And you got the Bronco in the back, Ford keeping up with those horses on their cars. No, I love how this looks. I absolutely love how this looks. This is also a contender for best design for 2022 already. A lot of cars to come, but so far, high on the list. Let's go inside though. Okay, back inside. Still a little cold out there. Maybe the snow could tell you that. Yeah, but let's talk about the interior of the Bronco, and I really like it. It's not the fanciest, of course. Like, this is very cheap plastic down here, and there is a lot of scratchy plastic everywhere. But if you remember that you can take off the doors and the roof and then go off-roading in this, it makes sense for it to be easy to clean, right? And that is definitely easy to clean. The design itself is actually pretty clean, as in design-wise, like not very busy. It looks very nice. I like it. The big kind of Bronco logo here on the side looks very neat. The steering wheel, I think, looks great. Very good grip on it. All the buttons are kind of like rubbery, so they're easy to press but don't get that dirty. Usability is good. Everything is a physical touch, like a physical controls here. So even with gloves, if you go off-roading somewhere, you can easily use it. And it is comfy. Seats provide quite a bit of support, because if you're off-roading, right, you're gonna get thrown around a little. That's important. And yeah, I just like design-wise, I like it. Oh, I have this open the whole time, I didn't even notice. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah, speaking of, tiny little issue for me. I'm 5'7" when I'm driving. This is not quite my driving position, but my driving position my elbow just kind of reaches the edge, and then I kind of, I just rub around this edge, and this side is actually pretty hard. So it is very, very specific just for me, and everybody that is exactly my size. We can get a little rubbing here, and that can be a bit uncomfortable. But of course, this being the Bronco, there's a bunch of like very cool features and Easter eggs. First of all, our shifter has, of course, the Bronco logo on it. Then we have an American flag down there. It looks pretty sick, I gotta be honest. We have a little plaque that says designed by and engineered Ford in Dearborn, Michigan, and that plaque actually looks like the front grille. You have the start-stop button, which also resembles a headlight, one of our headlights up here, and we have special buttons. Right, we have right here in the Wildtrack, we have front lock, rear lock. We have trail assist, trail turn. Sorry, trail turn is such a cool feature. It is literally one of the most useful features I've ever had in a car, and more cars need to adopt that. It is so useful. So what it does is, if you're in 4 high or 4 low, and you activate it, do it on you need to do it on a loose surface. But if you, let's say, turn left, it locks the rear left wheel, while all the other 3 wheels, gives gas to those, locks it, and kind of anchors it, and rotates around. And you can literally rotate so quickly and turn around. Like, I can turn around on this 2-lane road, just like that. I could just turn around like that. You can do it faster than in the clip. I used it so often. It is great. And then, of course, we have our auxiliary switches. We have 6 auxiliary switches, which right now are not hooked up to anything. You can hook them up to whatever you need, lights, winches, whatever. But they sound so good. It's like a plane. I feel like I'm a pilot operating those. Those are great. And lastly, infotainment and gauge cluster. Infotainment, this is Sync 4. First time I've been using Sync 4. We've had Sync 3 in the Mustang and in the Escape. And Sync 4 is really good. It is extremely responsive. It is super fast, super quick. It's all the features you need. Actually, more so, because in this one, you have like a split screen a bit. So you can have, for example, I have my fuel economy on this side. You can have off-road stuff in there. Really nice, really, really useful. And the Android Auto, which is the coolest part, is integrated into kind of like the layout. So you don't go into a separate screen with Android Auto, and then you have to like click to the menu button and go back to the other screen and kind of have to switch all the time. But it is in between. So if you want to change a quick setting in the car through the infotainment while you have Google Maps open, or Apple Maps, whatever you use, you don't have to go on. You just click settings, switch it, and then there's an Android Auto button, and you're back to Google Maps. It is so much easier. Best implementation I've seen so far. Then we have our gauge cluster, which is, we have an analog speedometer and a screen in the middle, which you can customize a bit. That screen is a little laggy, but it's really okay because it's only laggy when you switch some settings around. If you just use it like that and kind of have it set up, it's pretty useful and displays the stuff nicely. I like this. It's, like I said, it's not the nicest one. Heated steering wheel, heated seats, by the way. But it's an off-roader, so kind of can't be. It's very useful though. Let's go into the back seats and see how it is for passengers, though, because it's the 4-door, right? And jumping out of a truck is pretty cool. Okay, getting into the rear, right away we have handles to get in easily. And it's decently comfy in here, but we want to get more comfy by, there we go, putting the seats back, which makes it a lot better. It was pretty upright when we just got in. Seats are once again pretty comfy. I wouldn't really want to be back here when we're off-roading, because I mean, I have my handle up here, but I don't have one up there. And it's just, you'd fly around. Like, you'd fly. Like, if you go do some proper off-roading in here, yeah, you gotta be a little careful. We have pouches both sides. We have a no step sign on our center console, so you don't step on that. We do have window switches in here, just like in the front there in the middle, because you can take the doors off, right? Because it just gets very annoying to unplug everything and plug it back in and all the stuff. But no, these are actually very comfy, these seats. Space is decent. My feet have good room. My knees have decent room. Like I said, this is a little farther back than I sit at 5'7". My headroom is great. Of course, we have a bit of leather here, but otherwise plastic, which is, like I said, just the look in front. Not the nicest, but it is easy to clean. And then we have USB-C, regular USB, and we have household style outlet. Yeah, this is an adventure vehicle. Like I could be in here for a long time, road trip, off-road a little, I'm fine. Also we have a Bronco logo down there. Now we do want to take a look at the trunk and some of the Easter eggs that Ford hid in this Bronco. But for that, we're gonna go to the details. Hello, after a long hiatus, welcome back to the details. Today we will talk about the details of the 2021 Ford Bronco Wildtrack Sasquatch 4-door. Let's get started. First of all, we shall look at the trunk. How to open it? Pretty easy. You just put your hand in here and pull a little harder than I did the first try. Now you can swing it open. Admittedly, this can be a little difficult sometimes if there is a bit of a tilt in your vehicle. Then it can be a bit difficult to push this open. Mostly though, it is fine. Now, this part, you just push out. Anyhow, like this, we have 33.5 cubic feet of space, but if we lay down the seats, which we can do from the second row, then we have about 76.5 cubic feet. But we wanted to talk about some of the Easter eggs the Ford engineers have hidden in here. First of all, to right in the back. We have little Bronco logo just by the lights, and even more funny, some would say, is that the tie-down points in the trunk have lasso logos on there, just like a cowboy. Now, on the trunklet, well, not on the trunklet, you get what I mean, please excuse my English. So you have 3 different Broncos depicted on there. You have with their codes the U15, the U14 and the U13, pretty neat detail. But now, if you want to move up front, we do have 2 more little details we want to show you. First of all, in the wheel well, there is a slogan saying, "Lift me baby," a reference to the fact that most owners, despite optioning the Sasquatch package, will probably still lift the Bronco up even higher. Very funny. But on all the bolts you can find in the Bronco, on the exterior as well on the interior, you will see that they actually say Bronco on them. That is some very nice detail. Also, while we're here, these tie-down points support 150 pounds each. Enough of me. That is the Bronco. I am very glad to be back, and let's go driving. Okay, now on the road here in the 2021 Ford Bronco Wildtrack. Of course, as always, we start off with the launch. So let's use our GO.A.T mode switch. Goes over any terrain, or the GO.A.T that climbs on everything, or greatest of all time. Officially goes over any terrain, but well, you can use it for whatever you want. Go into Sport, which also switches to 4-wheel drive, to 4-high. Traction control off, as we always do that. I haven't done a launch yet. I'm very curious how quick it will be. Okay. 2100. All right. Okay, she goes. I did not do one yet. That was my equipment that just flew all the way in the back. Hope everything's still okay in there. Wow. Okay, that was good. Okay, shift down, my man. Shift down. Okay. You still want to give me all the power? Let's put you into normal for a second. That was surprisingly quick. So we have the 2.7 liter turbocharged EcoBoost V6 producing 315 horsepower and 410 pound-feet of torque. And yeah, this thing pulls. This thing pulls pretty good. We normally do a 50 km/h test to showcase the transmission response. We can do that here too. 50 km/h, and the Bronco goes. The Bronco halts. The engine is really nice because you don't need to rev it out that much to get all the torque you want because it's turbocharged, right? And there's not much turbo lag. So pretty quickly after you hit the throttle, you actually get your response. I like this engine a lot. And of course we have a 10-speed automatic paired to that, which is the first time I have this 10-speed in a Ford. We've had it plenty of times in various General Motors products. We've had it in Silverados, Sierras, we had it in like a whole bunch of cars. This is the first time here, and I must say it's really good. Just occasionally at lower speeds it's a little more rough, but that might be the tuning they gave it for off-roading. We can shift ourselves. We just do this, and then we have 5th gear, 4th gear, 3rd gear. Took a little to shift there. 2nd gear, 4th, 3rd, 4th, 5th. shifts reasonably well, but it's more geared towards off-roading, of course, in this one. It's not really meant to be a road warrior, but this can drive very quickly. But enough of that. In the interior of the Bronco, both in the rear and in the front, you do have mounting spots for cameras and other kind of like items like telemetry or whatever you want. So this camera right now is mounted on a suction cup. It's a GoPro on a suction cup, because I don't have any mount that would fit into those screws. That's the same one you have on a camera for a tripod. So you can literally, if you have like anything that goes in your camera, you can put it right there, which is really cool. But my camera doesn't have a wide enough angle to be able to shoot from there. But this GoPro is in almost the same spot as you would have it if you knew to mount. So I figured, come on, let's put one there, just so you know how that would look. You can also buy like rails for the Bronco, so you have like proper GoPro mount rails in the front. It's really, really cool. It's really well thought out, because I mean, if you off-road, you probably want to have a GoPro running, just kind of, first of all, remember what you did, right? And on the other hand, you can analyze what you did. We also have a charging port right up there by the windshield. It's actually pretty, it's very well thought out. Like, the usability they put into this Bronco is great. It's great, and it's I'm very curious to see how Jeep answers that, but we're gonna talk about that later. Let's talk about more just kind of general driving. Suspension test. We always do that suspension test right here, because this road is absolutely horrendous, and you will hear vibrations. You also I heard squeaking in cold nights when the car wasn't warmed up that much. There's squeaking coming from the tailgate. I heard that quite a bit. So it's like -10 Celsius. That's like 20 Fahrenheit. I don't know. I'll have it on screen. Sorry. There will be some squeaking, but maybe they'll fix it in later model years. But suspension-wise, it's actually pretty comfy. It doesn't ride badly or anything. Suspension rides pretty well. It is, of course, still kind of truckerish, off-roady, so it's not like the most reactive, well, not the most responsive to what your inputs are like, but it is very comfy still to ride over bumps. Of course, any bump, doesn't matter how big it is, it just eats it up. Speed bumps, you even if you don't slow down, I mean, you just go in the speed limit, but even if you don't slow down for the speed limit, you don't even feel them. Because we've had some very bad conditions here in the recent weeks, so we've had like a big snowstorm this time around too when I had the Bronco, and some of the roads kind of like had a lot of snow, then it melted, then it froze again, so you had like really, really bumpy but hard roads, and you could just send it over there, and the Bronco just eats them up, especially this Wildtrack, right? That's what it's made for, kind of baja running. But I didn't do any like snow crawling, off-roading, because first of all, there's plenty of videos that do that. You can see this Bronco is extremely, extremely capable, but snow off-roading is pretty treacherous, and I don't have much experience off-roading, and the last thing I want to do is get this thing stuck and have to call Ford and tell them that I put the Bronco in a ditch somewhere in the middle of nowhere. So that's why I didn't do it. But I hopefully this year would do some off-roading, something that's a little easier than snow. Anyhow, this thing is extremely capable. You have all the G.O.A.T modes. So let's see, we have normal, we have eco. I tested for about 5 seconds. No, I did test it for like a couple seconds, but it's not a couple minutes, but it's not that much different. Really, like I'm averaging 16.3 liters per 100 kilometers here, but that's a lot of idling. You can go a lot lower. It's not really great, the fuel economy, but what did you expect? We have a sport mode, we have slippery, which I used a lot, we have mud and ruts, we have sand, and we have a baja. We don't have rock crawling, that's exclusive to the Badlands. I'm just noticing how the car is just switching everything up. I just give one constant throttle input, but like because I'm keep changing the modes, it's like less power, more power, because it's like preparing for like off-roading. That's a lot of salt. That's disgusting on the road. But no, the suspension is very comfy. This is extremely capable off-road without any doubt. And like in these winter conditions, like I could make parking spots. I could find parking spots where other people didn't even dare to even go close to them, which was very convenient because not every parking spot was kind of cleared up, which wasn't an issue for me. But let's talk a little bit about more daily driving, because most people will, or at least for the most of the time they drive this Bronco, they will be, they're driving it somewhere on roads, on pavement, maybe running errands and that, or use it as a daily driver, because it's a cool vehicle, right? You don't want to drive something boring necessarily. If you can have something like this. Let's give it one more. Honestly, the V6 also sounds pretty good. It sounds pretty good. It doesn't sound quite like the F-150 Raptor, but well, the Bronco Raptor probably will sound like, but it sounds pretty decent. But what you might be hearing right now is there is a lot of wind noise. If you drive this, it's not going to be a quiet ride, especially on the highway. You can hear how I have to raise my voice. It gets pretty windy, pretty loud. I mean, this windshield is like almost vertical, so naturally it's just a block of metal basically going down the road, not being very, very aerodynamic. But like I said, there's reasons for that. But there are trade-offs. This won't be necessarily as comfy or as quiet or as serene as any other crossover out there. But the main competitor, the Jeep, is even worse, because the Jeep, unlike this Bronco, if you drive the Jeep on the highway, this is what the Jeep does. And you have I've reviewed a Jeep, like I said. I have a highway POV. I encourage you all to watch that. Admittedly, that one was slightly modified, had even bigger tires and a lift on there, but it is comparable to what the Sasquatch package has here actually in the Bronco. So it wasn't a stock Jeep, yes, but it was very comparable to this Bronco we're driving right now. And oh my god, the play on the highway you had in the Wrangler was horrible. You would just kind of constantly working the steering wheel, because first of all, nothing would happen if you didn't move the steering wheel, and secondly, I was just driving all over the road, this thing. While the Bronco drives like a car, like an SUV. It drives so normal on a highway. Like, I could let go of the wheel right now and we would end up exactly where we are pointing, even 100 meters down the road. That wouldn't happen in the Jeep. This is just so much more daily drivable than a Wrangler is. And everybody who drives this, like who wants to drive this and not only off-road it all the time, like doesn't live right by a trail, will really appreciate this. Because quite frankly, the Jeep is awesome. I love the Jeep, don't get me wrong. But it is just daily driving the Wrangler comes with a lot more compromises than this Bronco comes with. Of course, there are still compromises, like I talked about. It isn't necessarily always the most comfy. It isn't the quietest out there. And you will, on a highway, you will feel, you know, like you're high up, the suspension is made for off-roading, so it feels a little tippy-toey, you know, like you're high up and it's not the most responsive to what you're doing. But that's logical. But this is still nice to drive. This is comfy to drive. You can relax while driving. You don't have to always be working like steering wheel. And also, if it's probably going to happen, any Jeep owners that will answer to this video and say, oh, I drive a Jeep, a daily drive, and it's just fine. I'm not saying you can't. I'm not saying you can't. All I'm saying, this is better. All right? Sorry, but the Miata review I did showed me how fan bases can be very vocal about some opinions one might have, which is good. Opinions are fine. Just anyhow. Tech-wise, what do we have here? We do not have the most advanced tech, but we have adaptive cruise control, which is really nice. We do have emergency braking, which is really nice, and a warranty too. And we have a lane keep assist, but it's not really one of those which like steers you back in the center of the lane or anything. It's a very basic lane keep assist. But other than that, the tech is fine. It beats the Wrangler, which is what it set out to do, and it is a truck, that you can 100% daily drive. I like this. This is nice to drive. But I think we've touched upon everything. Yes, we did. We did on everything I wanted to touch upon. So why don't we send it off to the final thoughts and take a look at the price and do the comparison. Do you want to take the Wrangler or do you take the Bronco? Let's do that. Okay, final thoughts on the 2021 Ford Bronco Wildtrack Sasquatch package in the 4-door trim. Yeah, I mean, you can probably hear my enthusiasm towards, throughout the review. I really, really like this Bronco. This is one of those trucks, and cars trucks combination, right, that always makes me really enjoy this. I always love doing the stuff I do and doing this automotive journalism, making videos about cars for you guys. But you know, sometimes there's like a special vehicle which makes just even more fun. And the Bronco is one of those. I mean, look at it, especially with the snow and the tire treads, just looks awesome. The interior is pretty good, but actually let's do it in a different way. As spec, this Bronco, pretty much top trim, everything spec, is $71,289 Canadian. 286? I have it somewhere, squeeze. Dollars Canadian. That's a lot of money, especially if you see how much plastic is in the interior. You would, of course, if you would spend that money on a Lincoln, you get a lot more for that. But you can't see off-road as just, you got to see an off-road like a sports car, right? You get a lot of the money spent on the suspension and the drivetrain and all that. So that's why maybe for $71,000 the interior isn't quite as nice. And like I said, it needs to be easy to clean out. And the Wrangler isn't cheaper. This one has about $9,500 of options. So actually, you can get a Wildtrack, which includes the Sasquatch package, for like 62 grand. And a Wrangler Rubicon Unlimited, so the 4-door version, as soon as you spec like a decent engine in there, which is comparable to the EcoBoost, you're at the same price, even a little higher. So I don't think there's much of a competition right now. The Bronco, looks are subjective, but the interior is better. It has more features. It drives better. Maybe in certain scenarios it's only like 95% as good as the Wrangler off-road in very, very specific scenarios, but I would take the Bronco. I wouldn't hesitate. If somebody asked me Wrangler or Bronco, I say Bronco. Now Jeep came out with the Wrangler 392 with a V8 as an answer to the Bronco, and now Bronco came out with the Raptor. The Bronco Raptor Ford just announced, and yeah, I don't know how Jeep reacts to that, but I'm very, very interested to drive the Bronco Raptor and hopefully off-road that then, but we'll see about that. I'm pretty sure we're going to do that. Anyhow, yes, it's a lot of money, but I can see totally how that's worth it, and it's definitely my pick over a Jeep Wrangler. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I had a lot of fun with the week with the Bronco, making a video about it, and yeah, I upload videos every single week. I hope so. It's a little busy sometimes, but every single week, and we test everything from like compact cars, and cheap cars, to expensive cars, and sports cars, and luxury cars, and off-roaders, and trucks. So yeah, you name it, we got it all. So if you like videos about cars and you like mine, make sure to subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, helps me to get better cars and more cool videos for you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked it, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. Thank you, and goodbye.